And as good as ads are, and as important as ads are, they are not more important than the content. The content has to be the draw, has to be the lure, and the ad has to somehow respond to what the content's doing. So the way we view it going forward is what we thought about 2 or 3 years ago is truer today, and I'm going to get into some other things than it was then. It's going to continue to be true. And with that in mind, I have to say the IAB, and Randall in particular, but the IAB in general, has been a great partner in trying to get the discussion fully vetted and fully sourced so we can see all points of view. But that's the world in which we live, which means if you're in the content business and you're trying to reach everybody in the world with your content, and you're trying to do it on a budget that you thought was right 10 years ago, forget about it. Just think of the engineers you need to do this in terms of keeping up. We live also in a world, thank you, that slide can come down now so nobody goes crazy looking at it. We also live in a world that's changed in some ways in the last 3 years and will continue to change. It used to be that we thought we were hip and cool 4 or 5 years ago because not only were we on the desktop, but we were also in what we call mobile/wireless. And mobile/wireless was these kinds of things, which I now realize is anchored to this table, so Troy's in luck. I'm not going to be able to take this away from him. But we used to do laptops because we were cool, and then obviously we have tablets, and now we have iPhones. And so wireless is a whole category that is exploded in terms of what we mean by that. But then add to that social, because if you're going to do the web, you got to do wireless and figure out how you're going to make money from that, and I'll come back to that. Now you got to do social. By the way, I'm not sure Facebook ads meet the IAB standard. And they've been valued at $104 billion today, but I don't think they know about the IAB violation, because that'll probably knock $1 billion of valuation off of Facebook like that. But anyway, if it used to just be Facebook and then Twitter, and now Pinterest and Tumblr and Instagram and who knows what else, social is no longer just Facebook, although I'm sure we even understand Facebook. Having failed to understand Facebook, we moved to Twitter. Having failed to understand that, we moved now to 6 or 7 others. And so social is a whole other category they have to overlay against wireless, 2,300 operating systems or permutations in the operating system screen size. And then you add in another, because they always do social, they do wireless, which is sort of the location. And then you add in gaming. Now, as you may know, I haven't told you yet, but I have 2 teens at home, a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old. And so we talk via text, as every good parent and child does. They don't actually have a real communication. They text and say, Dad, can you make dinner? Dad, can you bring me this? Dad, can you bring that? And they're 10 feet away. It's not like they're anywhere else. That's how it works. But when they have 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 4 minutes and they're not busy studying, which is regularly, when they have that kind of time, what they do is they play games. The good news is a lot of these games are really educational. They're not just Angry Birds type games where they're wasting their time or not expanding their mind. Some of them, obviously Words with Friends is an interesting game, but they've gone way beyond that. But they have games. And so now if you're a brand and you want to be in front of people, you've gone from the web to wireless, which you have to do, which adds all sorts of responsive screen sizes, responsive content, and hopefully what we might call responsive ads, not one size fits all, because it can't. You've now had to overlay social. You need a social strategy. And now you need a gaming strategy, because if you want to really reach somebody under the age of 20, and every brand should, then you better have a gaming strategy, because they're going to play games. Now that gaming strategy may be one thing or the other, but you better have a gaming strategy, because sure as I'm telling you right now, brands are going to start creating their own games. Consoles will always be important, but for us, for instance, we're launching a whole gaming business later this summer. 6 years ago, we went and poached a bunch of wireless people because we thought wireless was going to get very big. We now have a staff of almost 50 people only worrying about wireless and mobile. And now we're going to bring in a nationally recognized gaming person to sort of head up games. Because to build a game on a small screen costs $1 million. If you build it on a console, it's a movie. It's $50, $60 million. It's really expensive. You're going to need a studio to do it well. As we all know, many of us have played those games, and we're going to continue to play those games. But if you're on a small screen, an iPhone or an Android or even a tablet, that costs $1 million, maybe $1.5 million to build. And you can start throwing out these games pretty quickly, and you can include both your brand to make it fun, as well as your advertising partner, your sponsor partner. So as we look at it today, we've gone from desktop to wireless to social to gaming And social and gaming are going to explode in their own way, and I'm not an expert on which way it's going to work. Gaming is going to continue to explode. If you just look where they spend their time, if they're not on Facebook, and they are going to be doing gaming. If they're not on Facebook or doing gaming, then they might look at your content, and it's all about how much time they spend with your brand. It is not necessarily trying to get them to open their wallets. Many of them don't have wallets yet, but you're trying to spend time with them.